Hi there. I'm Dr. Myrdalis Diaz-Ramirez, and this is the Design Your Physician Life podcast. Welcome to this episode brought to you by our Maxillary Mastermind, an exclusive mastermind for physician entrepreneurs. Today, we have an awesome guest, Dr. Renee Matthews. She's from AskDrRenee, the website, the podcast, and also she has another show called In the Kitchen with Dr. Renee and Chef Alicia. We have a great conversation with Dr. Renee about how to deliver, how to bring your story to media. Are you ready? Let's go.
Welcome to the Design Your Physician Life podcast, where you will get excited about being a physician, learn the tools that can help boost your success, and great tips from successful doctors. Join us to unlock the keys to an amazing physician life. And now, here's your host, Dr. Myrdalis Diaz-Ramirez.
Hey guys, we're extremely excited because today we have no other than Dr. Renee Matthews. She's one of our coaches for our mastermind, but besides that, she's really a leader in our healthcare industry, helping other physicians as a medical educator and helping others with social media, branding, and more. Welcome, Dr. Matthews. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let me tell a little bit more about you because there's a lot of things that you've been able to achieve through the years working different things like raising awareness about asthma in Chicago, working with topics like we said, social media, motivation, inspiration, providing businesses advice to startups and entrepreneurs. You've been on Ebony and Essence magazine. You've been a contributor writer for TV shows, Good Enough Mother, Essence, Madame Noir, Black and Married with Kids. You also have columns on printed columns, and you have your show. So you are like all over, you know, you're like this Black woman ready, where you're a mentor for the Girl Scouts, mentor for Save a Girl, Save a World. Where are you not? That's
I
awesome.
tell everyone I don't do politics. That's my thing. Stay out of politics.
Well, we'll stay out of those today too. Okay. So let's talk to Renee, the younger girl. You know, now you are active member of Girl Scouts and Save a Girl, Save a World. Were you a Girl Scout yourself growing up?
I was a Girl Scout. I was in brownies starting in the first grade. And now they have daisies. It actually starts in kindergarten. And actually, that's how I started in my volunteering with Girl Scouts, was a daisy leader. But I did do Girl Scouts because my mom and my aunts and my grandma, that was what they knew. So my mom's like, oh, you're going to do. I was like, okay, cool. It was exciting.
Yeah. Is it still exciting?
It is. So I think I was a leader for 7 or 8 years. The problem was that no parents would work with me. So I was the solo leader. And because I do media full time and I have clients, now I am strictly just volunteering on the leader side. So I'm actually in charge of product sales for, I think it's like 39 troops. I do all the product sales for all the cookie sales. And then we have a sale in the fall for nuts and
that's not fair. I'm just
candy.
Thinking like when my girl was selling the cookies, we didn't have a leader like you. We just went and tried to sell cookies.
Yeah. So I'm in charge of like making sure that all of the orders go in from all the different troops. Now, when I was the leader, all the cookies were at my house. All the cookies were in my car. Everything fell on me because I didn't have any help. So yeah, but I loved it. And actually now, FAIR, Food Allergy Research Education, whom I've been working really closely with, they have a patch. And so I'm really excited because I'm going to start working with Girl Scouts again and actually working with the girls, not just leaders, and helping them to get this patch. So I'm really excited about that.
Oh my goodness, congratulations. So I want to talk to you about that girl who was a brownie. Did she know she was going to be a doctor or not yet?
So that's the funniest thing. The very first time I ever thought of it was I went to an OBGYN's office. One of the girls, her dad was an OBGYN. He took our brownie troop and he did an ultrasound on one of my friends in first grade. And I went home and told my mom, I'm going to be an OBGYN.
Oh my goodness, I have chills. That's wonderful. Wow. Yeah. So from there on, you just worked to be a doctor?
Exactly.
That was your mission?
Yes, exactly. I was like, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a doctor. And of course, I kept saying, OBGYN? And my mother's just like, I don't know. But then I get to high school and my dad, his friend at work, always talked about his daughter, the doctor. And we had this one day, our senior year, you either just didn't come to school or you go shadow your future career for the day. And my dad was like, well, maybe you can go and shadow this man's daughter who is an OBGYN. And so I called her and she said, sure, come on. And I went, I came home and I was over the moon. My mother was like, I don't believe you are so excited about that. That is so weird. I was like, Mommy, it was awesome. And she was really nice. And her patients were kind. Like I really got to go into the room and, into the exam room and stuff. So I really got to, see things and stuff. She was like, my mother goes, I don't believe this, but okay. And I loved it. My mother's like, you didn't have no problem. Nothing bothered me. I was in love. So that was my first day. Like I said, my senior year of high school, I got to actually be with an OBGYN for the day and was like, oh, this is wonderful. So I ended up subsequently working 3 summers with her in college, and she paid me under the table, and she's amazing. And if anyone saw me when I was on Oprah the first time, I talked about her. And actually, when I worked with her, I did an elective with her in med school. And a couple of her patients were like, weren't you on Oprah?
Oh my goodness.
Because I said her name. So then they knew me. They looked at me and were like, wait a minute. So Dr. Patrice Harold is the best thing ever. She let me go to, I had a pager that my parents didn't know I had, but I had a pager. She would page me and I would go. I'd get up in the middle of the night and I'd drive to the hospital. I went to surgeries with her. I went to deliveries with her. Mm-hmm. She's alive. She is amazing. We're still very close. She's amazing, wonderful. And actually my TV show is in her office waiting room. And I saw myself on TV in the waiting room, waiting for my appointment one time.
Well, thank you very much, Doctor, for having Dr. Renee and teaching her, because now we have her here.
Yeah.
So you went through your high school, your college, and then you went to medical school.
Yep. And then I didn't do a residency.
You didn't do the OBGYN.
No. So I said as a child, because I saw Dr. Nancy Snyderman probably close to when I was in Brownies. I saw her on Good Morning America. And I was like fascinated and said, oh my God, she's a doctor, but she's on TV. And I like that. I want to do that. And so I just wanted to do it. But of course, my mom was like, we don't know anyone that does that, Renee. So I don't know, she didn't know how to steer me. Whereas like Dr. Harold was an OBGYN easily. Here's somebody you can follow, but she didn't know anyone. So she's like, I don't know. So my fallback was I was going to practice OBGYN. My first thing was I really wanted to do media. And right out of med school, I ended up with a radio show on satellite radio and that was before they merged. So this was on XM. And I was like, well, Mom, if I can get out of med school and I can get on satellite radio and be heard, I'm half West Indian. If I can be heard by my West Indian family overseas, then I think I probably can get myself on television. I can get where I'm trying to go. And she's like, okay. And so then I just started, instead of worrying so much about doing the residency, I started pursuing it. It was like, okay, maybe I can do this.
So you finish medical school. You go to this radio show, and then there's different set of skills that you need for that versus medical school. How did you get those skills?
So in all of my growing up, I was a triple threat. I danced, I sang, and I acted.
Triple threat.
Yeah. So I did all of that anyway. Then when I was in middle school, I joined the forensics team. Now, I didn't do the debate side. I actually did storytelling, which is basically, if you think about what I do with my shows and everything, I tell people stories, right? And so I did storytelling. So that was my, public speaking. I did all the communication classes in high school and in, middle school and stuff. And so I knew how to talk. And with my radio show, I didn't have to be the engineer. All I had to do was talk. So I've always known how to speak and speak well. I've done a lot of competitions where I had to recite poems and stuff like that and won. And so speaking was never something that I didn't do. And public speaking was something that I always did. I mean, starting in the church in elementary school, I did public speaking. So that was my one thing, was that I knew how to talk. Now, the writing part is like, I think for the radio show, yeah, I wrote my questions out ahead of time. But I mean, it was all medical. So it was, it
you
wasn't
knew that
anything,
too.
Yeah, it wasn't really anything too strange. It was medical. I think once I kind of moved into doing the articles and all that, now that was a stretch, because I always tell people I play a writer online. I hate writing, and I'm not. And then now, I've written 2 books, so that's hilarious. I'm an author who really did not have a affinity for writing. I actually went into Michigan State with going into the remedial English class, because writing just has never been my forte.
So, a pattern that I see as I interview more and more physicians is, one, our parents really have a lot of influence in what we're doing, and parents of, for most of us, they're really being very supportive. So we're very grateful for that. The other thing is that we see that eventually when we get to some sort of entrepreneurship or some sort of different, like some might be a side gig or your real companies, these are curiosities that were born when we were very young, and then you have this set of skills that you're developing through your life. And when people say, oh, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do that, or my wife, for most of us, it's always been there. It's just a matter of integrating and finding them, and you've been able to do that successfully. So that after that first radio show, like we are talking Oprah, and we're talking books, and we're talking your coaching and all these things. What happened after that took you through that to being in Oprah, from not having a mentor on TV who was talking like then suddenly, like, you're not suddenly in Oprah, but eventually you were. Right. You were there.
The radio show, so I had a day job, obviously, while I was doing the radio show, and my day job was I educated doctors and nurses on how to collect umbilical cord blood for the state of Illinois. I worked for the public bank. And so when we did things, there would be cameras there. And so I ended up doing a lot of the camera interviews for the blood bank, well, really for the cord blood bank, to talk about what we were doing. So so then I had that experience, and Oprah was actually before the radio show. When I moved to Chicago, I moved to Chicago in October, and then April of that next year, I had gotten tickets to the Oprah Winfrey Show, and my mom had just moved into her dorm. My mother went to Northwestern's, one of the Northwestern seminaries. She went to, she's now an Episcopal priest, and she moved in the same weekend that I had the tickets for. So her first day of class was the day that we went to see Oprah. And so she and my dad, because they were in town, they went with me. And then one of my girlfriends drove up and went with me. And we went to the Oprah Winfrey Show, and I had rehearsed with my sister what I would say, because we just knew that I was going to talk to Oprah, and I rehearsed with her what I was going to say. And so I rehearsed it. And so I said it, and we did everything great, except for we forgot my name. But
so tell us what you said.
I cannot remember exactly, but I said something like, I had met Stedman the week before, and I had sent an email to everyone, was like, I'm this much closer to Oprah, and then look, here I am. And then she had talked about a Bible verse, Philippians 4:13, many years ago, probably when I was in high school. And I told her that verse was at the bottom of my, no, it wasn't Philippians 4:13. It was another one. I forget the verse, but it was below, it was on the bottom of my emails, and the signature, and my signature for my emails. And she told me that day, she goes, no, you know what? You need to look at Philippians 4:13. And so after that, okay, let me start up. Philippians 4:13 was the verse that I always had. Then she told me Psalm 37:4, delight thyself in the Lord, he'll give you all the ways of your heart. So she told me that day. And then I said, would it be okay if I gave you a hug? Because you don't ask for a picture. And I knew that because I watched the show all the time. Sure enough, she said, come on down. And she pointed and said, there's your picture. Because you could see the monitor. And I was like, and so we took a picture, and her photographer, George Burns, he came and met up with me after the show, and he took my information. He said, I'll mail you the picture. And sure enough, he did. And yeah, that was that.
There you go. So one of the things is that we have to know when to say no to things that don't go with our principles and values. And we have to say yes to opportunities that, because this you can mention over and over how you were brave enough, curious enough, and determined enough to get this opportunity for you. So tell us about how you from all of these learnings, eventually, like you got to these books that you wrote without, without the love of writing, but the love of sharing information for people. And when you write a book, it's always a business, right? Like it's not only about writing the book is just a small part of what it is. You really have to have all this business behind it, and you have two of them. So how do you go from your radio show to eventually having two books?
So like you said, I really, my whole thing is I tell people I don't practice medicine in the traditional sense. I educate the masses on their health. And so I'm able to do that because I use media, and I've been able to develop a big media following. And you also said something about saying no. That is so true, because as an influencer, I get pitched a whole lot of stuff, and a whole lot of stuff, as my sister says, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't go with your brand. And so I say no to a lot of things that are pitched to me, because I'm like, why would I talk about that? My audience would know that was fake. I have to be honest. And so being in social media, I saw that a lot of people have allergies now. And it would be a good idea for me to tell my story to help them with them raising their children, or maybe they were adults that came into allergies. And so my whole thing, and I tell my clients, is make sure that you have an audience to sell a book to before you write the book, because otherwise then you have a book and that's all you have is a book. And then you're trying to, you're killing yourself to get people to buy it. So I had an audience who kept telling me to write a book. And so I finally did. And then because I do media and I have the contacts, I was able to get myself some national media spots and, and get myself out there so people could know about the book. And then the book is in, my books are not just on Amazon, but they're on Barnes and Noble, Target, Walmart, all sorts of places. And even like some little small mom and pop shops in different, like in Napa Valley, there's a small mom and pop shop that has my book. And even in Antigua, they're going to have my book. So I'm so excited because that's the island that we're from. And I went from not being a writer to, I had a great friend who's an editor and a writer. And she was like, you can do this. I will help you. Because I was going to get a ghostwriter. And she's like, you can do it. I'll help you. And she did. She helped me every step of the way because she had self-published as well. And she's like, no, I will walk you through this. You'll completely understand how to do it. You'll be able to do the next one by yourself. And she's right. The second one I did completely by myself. The second one was a children's book. So obviously it wasn't as much value. But the new thing was this whole illustrator. But she was amazing. And she was very on top of things. And I sent her pictures because the people in the book were real people. I sent her pictures and she made the people in the book look just like those pictures. And the children that have seen the book think it is the cutest thing ever. And so I love it. I'm excited.
That's great. Tell us the names of the two books, and then we'll talk about the media tours that you had for the books. Yeah. Okay.
Mommy, I Can't Breathe, The Modern Guide to Navigate Allergies and Asthma. That's the first book. And then No, Renee, You Are Allergic.
There you go. For allergies. So if you're a physician who deals with allergies or with anything, there's, you can always write a book. This podcast, we're going to talk more about the media aspects because that's your expertise. So I want to you to tell us how you design your media tour for the books.
So I actually, because I tell everyone, when I first no longer had a day job and I had to figure things out, I was like, I don't know how to get myself into these magazines and stuff. And everyone's like, but you've gotten others in them. I go, yeah, that's me talking about other people. You're asking me now to talk about myself. That's something different. And so for the book, I did the same thing. I was like, oh my God, how do I do this again? And I asked a friend who is a producer, a TV producer, and she's also a publicist. And she sat down with me and we worked on my pitch. And she was like, okay, this looks good. This doesn't. And we fixed it. And she's like, okay, you're ready. And we did and so I had my pitch. And then, like I said, because I had the contacts, it was just a matter of me sending the messages. And most of them were like, oh my God, Renee, this is you. You did this. I said, yeah, it's me this time, not a client. Oh, of course. And so it wasn't so hard for me. But for others, it's not that difficult. You have to do the research. That's my favorite tip that I give everyone is research is key. And when I say research, you need to figure out who it is you need to contact, because if you are a doctor, please don't hit up the sports desk unless you're talking about asthma and soccer or something. You know what I mean? Because
well, maybe, asthma in sports people, right?
That is right. But I'm saying
exercise-induced asthma.
Right, exactly. But don't, just make sure you don't hit up the beauty editor about your medical story. You need to make sure that it makes sense. And so you want to make sure you're getting to the right person, because they will not probably pass it on to the right people for you because they're busy. They're going to look at it and say, oh, they sent it to the wrong person, and keep moving. So you want to do research and make sure that if it's for TV, if it's for a magazine, newspaper, whatever, you need to make sure you are contacting the right person. And then I'm all about developing relationships. My mother thought my first book would be about networking because they say I'm a networking queen. I didn't do it about networking, and maybe eventually I will do a networking book, but I want everyone to realize that, especially when we started going virtual, it really wasn't that difficult to network. But now that we're opening back up, you have to go to meetings and, you have to join organizations and, meet people, because that is why I can, hit up people and say, hey, can you cover this story? Hey, because I've made these connections over the years.
So that's a theme that we've talked through the time here, in our podcast, Design Your Physician Life, is making connections with whatever you are, getting to that group of people. So sometimes we have friends like you, so we can have plan A, B, and C. So first, if you want to do your media tour, plan A, get with your friends. But if you don't have any friends who are in that media, then get to the media. That's plan B. So go to the meetings and network. But if you don't have the time to do those things, then plan C, you have coaches, right? People who can connect you, people who are here and available like you. So if someone wants to do a book, and I say, you know what, I have a book or I have a product that I want to share with the world, and I don't have my friends who are producers, or I don't have the time really to go and sit down and find on each media how to where to go with this story or my product, we go to a coach or somebody like you. What's the process? What happens when I call you? It's like, hey, I have this product. What can you do for me?
I talk to people and figure out exactly what are they trying to do, because, who are you trying to sell it to, and where are you trying to go with this? Is this supposed to, is this a niche product that you really aren't trying to get out to the masses? It's only supposed to be to the physician community or whatever. And once we figure out what you're trying to do, then I'm like, okay, this is what we can do. We can sit here and figure out who those people, the key people are that you need to talk to. And then it's all about, getting in touch with them and getting it covered and getting it out there. I always tell everybody, one of my former clients, she was in her first year, I think, of her business, is Dr. Shannon Klingman with Lumi. And I'm sorry, I can't watch TV now without seeing a Lumi commercial, and it just excites me. We don't work together anymore, but we're still cool. We text all the time because I'm just so excited every time I see her on TV. But she is really like killing it. I mean, like I said, there is not a day that I do not watch TV and see her commercials, whether it's on Food Network or on TLC or on, it's somewhere I see her commercials on TV, and it just excites me so. But she and I, we did Good Housekeeping magazine, which Lumi, in case you don't know, is a deodorant that you can wear anywhere. So anywhere where bacteria can go, you can have odor, and Lumi will stop that odor. So good housekeeping, of course. Why wouldn't you?
So let's talk about that. What anywhere means. Anywhere means armpits, groin, feet, and all this
underneath that inch you can pinch under your stomach, in between your under your breasts. Yeah, anywhere.
So let's take a look about that study, because that's a good study case. She's been doing great, and we all see her like all over the place. Which elements did she have that were great about her product before she got to the marketing aspect with you? Which things do you think she brought with her so that people can get ready before seeking help from someone like you, that they really have to have set down? You know, if you have these things, you will be great for Dr. Matthews to go and help you market your, take you to the media.
Yeah. She had a great website. And so she was already doing sales before I started working with her. She wasn't on Amazon yet. She did Amazon later. But yeah, she had a great website, so we didn't have to start there. But I have connections for that too. So if you come to me and you have the great product, I have an amazing web designer who actually works with a lot of my physician friends, who understands and will make you a beautiful website. And he is not expensive. And plus, if any of my clients, they get the hookup. But yeah, he get a great website. She had an awesome website. It worked very well. I was already a client of hers. Like, I was already a customer buying Lumi. So I knew her website worked well because I was buying it. And so that was wonderful. And so in my pitch, I was able to talk about that. The other thing was that her product was different. Like, you have to make something there are a million of things, but there's something that makes it unique. One, she was a doctor that created it. That was unique, because there are a lot of natural deodorants out there, but how many are created by a doctor? And then the fact that her product was vegan. So that also helped things out, because this is something else we can use to, influence people. Because nowadays, that's one of the buzzwords. And then the fact that she's there's no other deodorant that you can put everywhere on your body and it not be toxic.
That's awesome. So those are, the uniqueness, having readiness, and also before and having had a business plan, because you had a business plan and executing and before going to marketing, then she would probably have to know the growth of how that's going to be, because marketing is going to affect how you grow. So then she would have had to be ready financially and strategically before she comes to you to tell everybody, because then she tells everybody and then she suddenly doesn't have a deodorant to sell because she runs out. So you have to have all these things ready. Okay. So if I want to talk on TV myself, how do I get ready for that? If I've just gone through medical school and I just want to tell the world about the wonderful things I can do for my patients, what things do you recommend?
I say start with all these lovely free things we have: Facebook Live, YouTube, TikTok, IG, all of these things, because they will help you to, because some people have nerves. It'll help you to get rid of your nerves, and it'll be a video that you can look at. Other people can look at and say, okay, like I've watched, clients' videos and they're like, okay, this is what's wrong. This is what's wrong. One of my clients, I got her first TV interview and I told her, go home and watch it. Just go home and watch it. And so she saw, without me having to tell her what I was thinking.
Did you tell her go home and watch it, and you gave her a box of Kleenex at the same time? Or like some cheering, or what happened there?
No, I still watch it. And so then I told her, this is what you need to do. You got to do this, you got to do that. I go, if you notice, the lady cut you off. And so she cut you off because you went too long. You got to short sound bites that are, so practice. So if you want to get on TV, then you need to start doing video. And because when you go on TV, hopefully it's not the first time that you went on video, went on camera. You want to get on camera and you want to record and you want to practice. And even if you sit and record, have a friend interview you and it's like mock interviews we did for med school or whatever. I don't know. Even if that's what you want to do that, but just do something so that you're practicing and so that you're ready. And that would be the thing, is get yourself ready. And the other thing is, I think people forget. And when I interview doctors, There was a time where somebody was telling me who I was interviewing and they weren't vetting them. And so because they didn't vet them, those people were not equipped to speak to regular everyday people. They were only equipped to talk to other doctors. And that doesn't work if you're going to be on TV because hello, it's not just doctors that are watching the Today Show, Good Morning America, whatever, So you need to make sure that you are actually speaking so that everyone can understand. So maybe the person who interviews you is somebody who's not a doctor, so that person can say, okay, wait, stop. I don't understand what you're talking about. No one else is going to understand, because people don't realize, obviously all of us are very intelligent people. We became physicians, but we don't pick up on the fact that we speak totally different language than the average layman. But there is a way to explain these things so that, people can understand. But, that's why I do what I do, because there are physicians who speak to their patients in the office and the patient walks out and has no idea what they were talking about. But then there's me who will explain it. Either it was in one of my columns I wrote about it, or I did a show about it or something. And now they're like, oh, that's what they were talking about. So that's why it's so important to be able to get things so that your patients actually understand what you're saying, physicians in the office. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to be on TV, you really have to make sure that they understand. And I had a meeting with a big network, and they were like, I get it why you have such a huge following online, because you're so personable. You're not like the regular scientist doctor who has no personality, and you actually speak English. Like he said, I understand what you're talking about. Like I could understand that enough to say, hey, to my doctor, I heard about this. Is this okay or whatever? Or what's this? I said, well, thank you.
Yeah, that's like saying, adipocytes versus fat cells, right? Like some things that people will understand. It's like, yeah. I want to talk about 2 fun things that you've done, so that you tell us, I don't know if you had a producer friend who got you the gigs in Ebony and Essence magazine, or how you get those writing opportunities, and also how you got to be a contributing writer for TV.
So I'm trying to think. So I know Ebony, one of my friends, she worked for, and she actually was the editor for my book, for Mommy, I Can't Breathe, Dr. Margina Christian. She worked for Johnson Publishing, and we were just really good friends. And she actually came home with me. We went to go to a concert. She came home with me, and my mom was talking to her about my asthma and my allergies randomly. And when we got back to Chicago, she said, she was the health editor. And I don't even know if I remembered that, but she was the health editor. And she said, I want to do a story about asthma, and I want you to be in it. And I was like, huh? And it was crazy. There was a photo shoot and everything. It was, a makeup artist. I was like, oh my God, this is so crazy. And wait a minute, it was outside in a park. So people were starting to watch, because they thought I must be someone famous, because there's a makeup artist sitting here and there's photographers, and it was hilarious. I was like, Mom, I felt important. But
you can say, I'm just your day-to-day model. That's okay.
Right.
That's all.
Well, I'm trying to focus on them. So I tell people all the time, photo shoots are not easy, which is why I don't do a million of them. I kudos to models. And actually I tweeted one day, I think it was before the photo shoot, I tweeted and I tagged Tyra Banks and said something about it. And do you know, she commented, she replied to my tweet and said, oh my goodness, you must tell me how it went. I was like, oh my God, right. And I told her, I go, I don't envy you. You have a very hard job. It's not for me, but I think I did it okay. It was funny. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun. And that's how I ended up in Ebony. And then the next time they wanted some myths about different medical things. It was like kind of a, true and false kind of a thing. And so I ended up writing it all out, and they go, we're going to give you the byline. And so this time it was actually, I wrote it, and one of their people illustrated this really cool picture of a girl that was supposed to kind of be me. And it was cute. And I was more excited about that one than the one with my picture in it, because I actually had my name as a writer in it. So that was really cool. And then I haven't been a contributing person to TV, not yet. I'm thinking it's coming soon. I actually had a friend send me a message one day asking me about ventilators. And of course, she didn't know the word ventilator. So she was just asking me about, what did she say? Life support machine, whatever she said. And I text her back some information. And then I told her, not knowing why she was asking me, I said, and I knew she was in TV, but I didn't know why she was asking me. And I said, if perchance, you ever hear about one of these shows needing, because, I live in Chicago and we have a lot of TV shows. I said, if you hear about one of these TV shows needing a doctor, just let me know. I've always wanted to do that ever since I watched ER as a kid. And she was like, I work for Chicago Med. I go, what? She said, let me get you that lady's information. So I ended up talking to the lady. They had just hired a doctor. She was like, if it does not work out, we are going to call you. I was like, okay. So Chicago Med's still on the air. So if they need me, they will let me know. But yeah, that would be so cool. And actually one of my sorority sisters is one of the big people at Grey's Anatomy. And I have just been following her career. And I keep saying I'm going to reach out to her. But we've communicated online, but she's going to be on my show. She doesn't know that yet, but she's going to be on my show and I'm going to talk to her. But yeah, I have another friend who introduced me to somebody who used to write, who was a producer for private practice. And she wasn't a doctor. She just was a TV producer. But my sorority sister is a physician and works for Grey's
I think you have
Anatomy.
to write that book on networking. I'm like, social engineering is your thing. Definitely. Renee, it's awesome. Let's talk about your daily life. Okay. Because you're a coach for these doctors. And you have your podcast, you write and all these things that happen. Tell us about your daily routines, how you're not a physician, you didn't go to the residency, but you've been certainly able to leverage your medical degree. What happens during your day, during your weeks? How do you organize? If I want, I'm really inspired as a physician, but I might want to follow your steps. What would a day look like for me?
So I wake up, first thing I do is I meditate in the morning in bed before my feet hit the ground. And I actually write my intentions for the day. I have a book and I thank God for everything that I wanted to happen that day. Now I can write intentions for things that'll be in 5 years, 10 years, whatever. But most of them, I usually write the daily ones. And then sometimes at the end, I'll write ones that are futuristic. But I do that in the morning and then I work out in the morning. If I don't work out in the morning, it doesn't happen. So I work out in the morning and that can be 30 minutes to 2 hours. It depends on if the trainer's coming or not. And then after that, I tell everyone I don't do meetings or anything until after 12 o'clock because I need to do my workout and then I need to shower. And the funniest thing is that I've read a whole lot of books recently, but I've done them all on Audible and I read them in the shower. So I play them while I'm in the shower. And so that's where I take in my information. So by noon, I'm done with all of that.
How long are your showers?
I think they're not. So I do set timers sometimes.
A ton of books in the shower. That's our long showers.
But you know what? They're really, I take my showers probably like 5 minutes, but then, I have to wash my face and brush my teeth, all that stuff. So the whole time I'm in the bathroom, the books are playing. So it's usually 30 minutes in the bathroom a day. And then after that, I'll take whatever meetings I have. This week, I have a really big meeting. I'm really excited about a new partnership. And actually, because the world is opening up and it's become beautiful in the weather out here. So in the Midwest, I am going to actually drive to a meeting. It's not going to be virtual. And we're going to sit outside and have coffee and meet. And but I take my meetings in the afternoon. I sit there and get on the computer as soon as I get out of the shower, I get my computer and I start emailing and following up on emails. I may have checked my phone and saw the emails in the morning. And then when I get everything settled and I'm back to my computer, I'll respond to all the emails. I'm really big on Evernote and the Notes app on my iPhone. That's how I organize my life and my clients so that I don't miss out on any emails. Like my clients know, the one thing I will not do is drop a ball. There will never be, Renee didn't follow up with such and such, or, never that. They didn't follow up with me. I always follow up and make sure that everything is on the calendar so they know exactly where they're going, what's going on. But yeah, I do that. And then most of of my media stuff that I have to do is in the evening. So like I'm a host on blackdoctor.org. Most of the shows I do are in the evening. So usually after 6 o'clock, then I end up going live and doing that. Then the Ask Dr. Renee show, I actually usually do on Saturday afternoons. And that's my YouTube show. And so that's Saturday afternoons. And so in those emails that I've done during the week, I've been booking my shows. So booking Black Doctor, booking Ask Dr. Renee show. And whatever, if I have any clients, then I'm booking all of their stuff as well, pitching myself, pitching them. But yeah, that's my day. And I eat dinner with my family, usually around 6-7 o'clock. And in between there, I might take a walk outside, just because I honestly discovered years ago that, because I used to think, well, I have to pitch all day. I can't leave my computer. I can't exercise. But when I take these walks, I get really great ideas. Like I get ideas of places to pitch, or ideas of what to pitch, or ideas for my business or my client's business. So I take these walks and have thoughts and like, wait a minute, oh, I should do that. And then I take little notes in my phone, and then I go home and get on my computer and do it.
I don't know if I should have asked you about your day, because I know that most physicians are going to be like, let's just say envying you from this day that you've just described. Like, oh my goodness, who starts their day with other people at noon? Goodness gracious. That's awesome. So you've talked about habits. So your habits of meditation, your habit of being
Setting
intentions, and your habit of gratitude, and your habit of exercising. So those are great things. And then your habit of having your meetings at a set time where they don't interfere with other activities that bring you pleasure, that help you grow and help you being on that mindset to get ready for everybody else, and being able to be available in a great, personable and happy way. Those are great things there. We have a few minutes to discuss specific tips, because you have your clients, you coach people one-on-one, and there is a particular topics that keep happening, that keep showing up when physicians come to you. And there might be 3 specific tips that you want to share with us today that people can go right away and practice. What would those be?
One huge thing is, please make sure you have a marketing budget. If you are going to try and, if you're the brand, if you created a product, you have a service, you have got to have a marketing budget. That is like my first thing, is you got to have a marketing budget, because otherwise, who's going to know what you're doing? And, my other thing, like I mentioned earlier, research. Please research what it is, because honestly, don't reinvent the wheel. We can I always use the brands of used condoms. Male condoms, how many are on the shelf if you go to the drugstore now, right? But I bet you all of those companies are thriving. None of them are going broke. So you can have the same product as somebody else. You just need to figure out what makes you different and unique. So do the research, figure out what they did and what they're doing that's working. Don't reinvent the wheel. What show did they go on and talk about it? Because I guarantee that show will probably have you on too, or that newspaper or that online publication, whatever. Please just don't reinvent the wheel. Don't make more extra work for yourself. And then practice. So if you're going to be the talking head, then you need to practice. And do not be afraid, because there's so many people that are afraid of going live. Do not be afraid to go live, because video is still king. I mean, pictures are great, but video is king. And if anybody does anything with Facebook or Instagram, the algorithm really likes video, and they're like, whatever to pictures. I mean, good luck with that. But video, they are gung-ho about and will push forward. Even if you don't, pay to boost it, they are going to usually let video be seen by more people than they are pictures. So please, 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 please get on video, and don't be afraid to do it. Practice. You don't have to jump out the gate and have, 50 viewers. Cause some people, they go live and they're like, only 2 people were watching. Don't worry about that. Don't pay attention to it, because guess what? Those videos stay up there. People will watch the replay. The time that you go live may not be convenient to all the people that follow you. You don't know. So you have to just, I tell people all the time, one of my former clients, he would do videos on YouTube and nobody watched them but his mom and his brother. And then one day, somebody that worked for Oprah watched him, and he ended up being a host of one of her shows.
Yeah, you only need that one person.
Exactly.
That's it. You don't need a huge audience for it to happen in the way that you want it to be.
Exactly. And so you don't worry about it. And my whole thing is, if you build it, they will come. So if you put the information out there, you will slowly but surely get people to follow into what, but this overnight thing is not true. You have to work at these things. So give yourself grace and just work at it. It's a job. And if you can't do it, what you need to do is hire someone. I might be the person, but you need to hire someone who can help you and say, okay, these are the topics you need to cover. So you don't have to think about it. Here's the topics. You need to do these videos, because you can do videos ahead of time. Do these videos, and then we'll set up so that we can post them strategically. Blogs, you can do a whole week of blog posts on Sunday, and then you strategically post them so that your audience has content every day. I mean, there's all sorts of ways to do things. And if you can't, like I said, if you don't have the time because you have a family and a practice, then you hire people like me, a publicist, who will sit there and I'll do the pitching and I'll do the heavy lifting. And all you have to do is show up and make sure that you're ready to be on camera, ready for that interview. And then you have this great article or whatever.
So how can we find Dr. Renee and hire her to do all these things, to teach us about all these things? Where are the media? What are your handles? Where can we see Dr. Renee?
I am Ask Dr. Renee on everything. AskDrRenee. I'm on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Snapchat even. I never snap. TikTok, that's a rarity too, but I'm there. But I'm on everything Ask Dr. Renee. My website is very simple, AskDrRenee.info, because I'm a resource for information.
That's awesome. Thank you for being here. Thanks for all your knowledge. We look forward for more of Ask Dr. Renee and Dr. Renee. It's been awesome to have you here.
One more thing. A bonus.
This is a bonus.
If you'd like to buy bulk books, because I know I have, like, my allergist bought bulk books because he wanted to give them to some people and he wanted to make sure he had them in all of his offices. You just send an email to me. The information's right on my site, but orders at mommyican'tbreathe.com or orders at noreneeyouallergic.com, and I can get you bulk books.
There you go. Seriously, like, that's really a good resource for any physician, primary care, allergies, whoever deals, dermatologists, whoever deals with allergies. This would be a good, great resource for all of us. So thank you very much for being here. We're very happy to have you, very proud of the work that you do. Thanks for helping physicians, getting the message out there in a right way to our communities, to our population. So thanks a lot for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, guys, that's it for today. Stay tuned for more of our Design Your Physician Life podcast, which was brought to you today by our Maxillary Mastermind, an exclusive mastermind for physician entrepreneurs. Please reach out to Dr. Renee Matthews at her website, AskDrRenee.info. That is AskDrRenee.info. We will continue to bring you useful resources to develop your physician entrepreneurial life, like we did today with Dr. Renee Matthews, and much more. Thank you for joining us. We hope you had a great time as we did. Stay in touch. Please visit our website, maxallure.com. That is MAXALLURE. And please don't forget to subscribe, like us, give us 5 stars, and share the love. Share with your friends and family. See you later. Bye.
Please remember that Design is not providing specific financial, medical, or career advice. Our only intent is to stimulate your appetite for growth by sharing our experience and those of our speakers, coaches, and guests. Your personal growth and success will be unique to your circumstances and your hard work. We sincerely hope you enjoyed the show and look forward to seeing you next week.